Legend of Total War here, and today we're doing another Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires campaign review, this time covering Azazel. So Azazel is a Slaanesh-focused Warriors of Chaos legendary lord, very similar in terms of playstyle to Sigvald the Magnificent. They both have the Slaanesh-focused tech tree, they both have Slaanesh-focused units, they both give the gifts of Slaanesh. Their playstyles are very similar. However, there are a few key differences that I think make Azazel a more interesting campaign to choose from. It kind of sucks that the two can't confederate each other. It kind of doesn't make much sense that they can't, since they basically have all the same units and mechanics, but currently these two can't confederate any of the other legendary lords, not just each other. So Azazel starts near the Tower of Crack, which is a semi-trick start, right? Where you're sort of led to try to take out the Brotherhood of the Bear early on. So you capture the settlement, it's your first Dark Fortress site, you'll vassalize the Sarl, and then their other settlement is over here at the Bay of Blades. And it takes several turns to travel from the Tower of Crack to get over here, but you can rely on the Sarl to take them out, and if you do that, you're missing out on the greater opportunity of taking out your first real enemy before they have a chance to become a serious threat. Because of the way that the Warriors of Chaos recruit, that they can recruit instantly, you've actually crossing over several provinces through here, all of which will have some basic Warriors of Chaos units, so you can traverse all the way down here before Castalton has a chance to recruit any units and take him out before he becomes a threat. Because if you don't do that, he'll actually end up recruiting more units than you, due to the fact that there is a limited number of recruits in this area. So taking him out early, I think, is a way better strategic option than taking out this nobody who's basically neutered right after you've captured the Tower of Crack. So, interesting start position for sure. And then from there, you can go in any direction you want. Loads of enemies, loads of opportunities to obtain loads of souls. So, very strong campaign in terms of what you can do. Now, in terms of Azazel himself, what he brings to the table, he is arguably one of the best legendary lords in the game. He really has got all bases covered. He is a small character in terms of his unit size. That makes him very hard to hit with missiles. He's extremely fast. He's one of 3 small flying characters in the game, the other one being Valkyr and Malagor, the Dark Omen. He's a Slaanesh spellcaster, and he's got some good global bonuses, which in terms of Warriors of Chaos legendary lords, most of them don't provide any global bonuses. So looking at those at the moment, character experience gain plus 15% for all heroes. That's pretty significant for the Warriors of Chaos, since they rely on that constantly to get their devotion to the various Chaos Gods. And then if you're playing a Slaanesh-focused campaign, whether or not you're playing as Be'lakor or Archaon as well, because they can confederate Azazel, you can reduce the cost of the Path of Glory for Demon Prince of Slaanesh, or just to devote to Slaanesh, so you can save quite a bit of souls by obtaining that. Not that souls are difficult to obtain, but you know, it helps a little bit, I suppose, if you are running low. Now, playing as Slaanesh, you can double down on that a little bit more with this tech over here, Path of Glory minus 25%, souls cost to upgrade characters to Demon Prince of Slaanesh. So there's a few things here that Azazel brings to the table. Very strong legendary lord, can easily beat the crap out of Castalton in the very early stages of the campaign. And his initial starting army is particularly good as well. I personally think that the Mark of Slaanesh is one of the better marks of the Chaos God, because there are 4 marks, obviously. 2 of the marks of Chaos have no downside to them, and the other 2 have a downside. So Tzeentch and Slaanesh have no downside, whereas Nurgle and Khorne have a downside. So looking at the Mark of Slaanesh, it provides immunity to psychology, Strider attribute, increased physical resistance, which would be 10%, and increased speed. So that physical resistance is especially useful, especially in the early campaign where you're not really encountering much magical attack, which will bypass it. But because they've got a lot of armor, if you're going up against a unit that has a fair bit of armor piercing, you're still protected a fair bit from that with that physical resistance. So these guys here are sort of like doubly protected. The only thing that they really have to worry about is magical attacks, which again, in the early stages of the campaign, you're not going to encounter too much. Very strong units, although the Chosen of Slaanesh have some unfortunate stat choices. They're not on par with some of the other Warriors of Chaos dedications. But you do have a lot of tools at your disposal here to really put the smackdown in Kislev quite early on. The Warriors of Chaos are in a really good state at the moment. They're no longer a super weak faction, and they've just got some really strong campaign mechanics. Now, the other thing that makes Azazel's campaign unique is the Eye of the Gods event. He is the only Warriors of Chaos faction that's able to obtain the Blade of Slaanesh. Now, the Blade of Slaanesh is arguably the best sword in the game. Now, anyone in Azazel's faction can equip it once you've obtained it, and you obtain it through a dilemma. So that dilemma could happen as your first one, it could be a 10th one, it might never happen. It just depends on, I guess, luck of the draw, but Azazel, playing as Azazel is the only way to get it. And if you're thinking, oh, I'll just play as Be'lakor and confederate Azazel once he gets it, nope, only you, the player, can obtain it. At least as far as I'm aware. I've never seen the AI walk around with the Blade of Slaanesh. So that's something that makes Azazel's campaign unique over Sigvold, because Sigvold does not get access to the Blade of Slaanesh, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, that's the end of this one here. A lot of the stuff that we've covered with the Warriors of Chaos can be seen from other Legendary Lord review videos, so I don't feel like we need to double down on every little bit to it. Obviously, the Warriors of Chaos are in a really good state at the moment. I do feel as though Be'lakor and Azazel are the two, Be'lakor and Archaon are the two standout Warriors of Chaos factions, but I do like Azazel's campaign. If you're not looking to confederate all the Warriors of Chaos Legendary Lords, Azazel's campaign is probably one of the better of the 4 Champions of Chaos DLC Lords, in my opinion. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think. In terms of difficulty, I think this can be played on any difficulty. Legendary is fine, but it really just comes down to your personal preferences. Appreciate you guys. Don't forget to let me know in the comments below which Legendary Lord you'd like me to cover next. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.